Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it doubts, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna f*** with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Well, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's about 1:34 on a Saturday afternoon. As we see right now, I believe it looks like Alabama is playing currently. So good deal for Alabama. Hopefully they lose. I'm a University of Houston guy. We don't play till 5. We'll see what happens in the ACC. But in any ado, welcome to Unscripted. This is episode 321. As you can see, babyface Logan's not here. Frankie the Yankee's not here. Hell, nobody's here, damn it, but me. That's okay. Everybody's sick. Everybody's over partying, hanging out with their family, doing what they do. It's all right. We still going to talk about a lot of good sports today. Check us out, if you will, on Unscripted Guys on Twitter, all one word, and TikTok, Unscripted Sports, all one word. And that's where you can find any up-to-date news that's coming out in the sports world. Speaking of the sports world, speaking of news coming out, let's talk about this Chicago trade, shall we? Holy crap. I was talking to Frankie the other day. I really thought it was going to be the Raiders that might go to number 1. I really thought it might be the Houston Texans that would go to number 1 because I thought they had a lot of draft capital to give the Chicago Bears. But lo and behold, Carolina steps it up big. They go to Chicago. They say, look, we want your number 1 pick in 2023 because most likely we're going to take Bryce Young. Not to say that they won't take C.J. Stroud, but I have a feeling Carolina is going to lean towards Bryce Young. And what does Chicago get? Chicago gets a whirlwind of shit. Let's be honest. Chicago gets a whirlwind of shit. They got the number 9 pick in 2023. They got the number 61 pick in 2023. They got the number 1 or first round pick in 24, and they got a second round pick in 25. And just for the hell of it, they throw in DJ Moore. What the hell? What a time to be alive, man. Mickey, good morning, my brother. Good morning, Mickey, man. Glad to see you. Hopefully you're doing well, my brother. Mike Hughes, I know, man, that laptop is a mug. And I've been there, so I know exactly what you're doing, brother. Hopefully you get your equipment up and going soon. But literally, Chicago, this team is in position, folks. This team is in position. Mike Hughes, your team, they got the bag. Let's be honest, they got the bag. Now, granted, they gave up an opportunity to get, I guess, the number 1 defensive guy. If they really want that route, they gave up the opportunity for Young, Stroud. But it tells me, and I think Mike Hughes will tell you himself, that means the Bears just believe just that much in Justin Fields. They really believe that Justin Fields is their guy. Hey, he says sometimes he don't even take photos. Hey, I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I don't keep photos either, man, honestly. But that's the way the computer works. That's how the government gets you. But no, seriously, they get the bag. Chicago is prime. They could go any number of ways at this point, Mike Hughes. They could go any number of ways. They could go offensive line at 61. They could go wide receiver at number 9, or just the opposite. I think they should go, if it was me, and offensive tackles, at least the top creme de la creme of offensive tackles is a little smaller. So if it's me, I'm going to go get an offensive tackle, an offensive guard, whatever the case may be. I'm going offensive line at number 9. I'm probably going to come back and pick up that wide receiver at 61, or maybe if there's a really good wide receiver that they just truly believe in, maybe they package at number 61 and that second round pick at 25, and they try to go get that wide receiver. I mean, either way, they got plenty of draft options at this point now that they can really rebuild that offensive line. They can rebuild the wide receiving core and complement DJ Moore. They got Derek Montgomery in the backfield, Fields in the front at the quarterback position. Maybe they take a defensive guy at some point. And there's my boy Mike coming in at the perfect time. Mike, man, I was just talking about your Bears, baby.
Yes, sir. I'm on my phone. That shit's still updated.
Hey, listen, phone, pager, whatever it is you got, we'll take.
Yeah, I was like, man, it didn't even look like it was halfway there, bro. And I told Frankie, it was like 30 minutes ago when that started. And it's like,
but no, Mike, tell me, man, I want you to talk to me. This is your team, Mike. This is you. You guys got in my opinion, you got the bag, bro. Like, you got the bag.
Oh yeah, I felt my inner mobster come out. You know, I'm feeling like Tony Soprano right now. I'm living my life. I just fleeced Frank Wright. I mean, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. It really is. Now let me ask you. Okay, you got DJ Moore. Let's just start at the top. How do you feel about DJ? I know how you feel about your receivers now, but now that you got a guy like DJ Moore, how do you feel about him in your lineup?
Well, I actually talked about it with you probably in October, where I
know, Mike. I'm old as hell. I don't even know if I remember back to October. Let's go.
No, that's what I'm saying. I thought, you know, we traded for Chase Claypool, and I thought we were going to trade for DJ Moore because they moved Christian McCaffrey, and you know, I really love DJ. DJ, the big thing about DJ. First, I want to say, because everybody on TikTok right now is blowing up a video from October that I did where I said the Bears would get DJ Moore. I did not think they would get DJ Moore in the draft. That was way back in October, so I can't take credit for that. Jay, these people are telling me I have the script, and it's been amazing. It's been fun. But it's something where I looked at it, and I just kind of laughed because I don't understand why you would let go of a guy who loves the organization in DJ Moore, a guy who's locked up until 2026, not on his rookie deal, on a team-friendly deal. He makes like, I think, $10 million a year. He has several 1,000-yard seasons. Jay, last year was his worst year. He had 888 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's better than anybody on the Bears. Like, if that's your worst year, I don't even know. But I think it, you know, me and you talked about it on the morning show this week. I said I thought the Bears would trade with Carolina, but I did think you would draft a receiver at 9. I had no idea Poles was going to pull this off with DJ Moore, and now it kind of, you know, opens things up to get a guy like Skoronski or Paris Johnson or another offensive lineman at 9. I think they're in a position right now. I think Bears make the playoffs next year if they handle free agency well.
Yeah, because that was my biggest thing. I'm like, now that you're at number 9, you know, obviously Carter's going to be gone. I think most likely Anderson will be gone. You know, your 2 top defensive, you know, edge rushers. So I think at this point, I think you have to go offensive tackle because, truthfully, the elite offensive tackles aren't as many. So I think at number 9, you're in a perfect spot to draft him.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's something for me. One, Peter Skoronski is a kid from Park Ridge, which is in Chicago. He went to Northwestern for 3 years. I mean, the story, if we could land Peter, I mean, that's just another hometown kid on the team. Cole Kmet. I forget exactly where Cole Kmet is from. He's from Chicago. Well, he's from Illinois. He's not from Chicago, but he's from the burbs of Chicago. And, you know, it's just a lot of hometown kids on this team. And I think it's a lot of fun. Jack Sanborn's from Illinois as well. I think, you know, it's really cool to kind of keep it in-house and to kind of build that culture of guys who understand what it's like to not only be Bears fans, but to be Chicago Bears. So I think it's going to be fun. I think we fleeced them. And, yeah, I mean, I think we might be – this is me not trying to be rude, but I think we might be in the same position next year because we have their 2024 first-round pick, And
Right.
Carolina's probably going to be dog awful. So we might fuck around and end up with number one. Might have 2 number ones back to back, and we probably won't pick either of them. Just trade them again.
Mickey Delaney says, Mike, get a real laptop. He also says Team USA is taking on Britain tonight at 8. Yeah, that's going to be a good game. Mickey, leave Mike alone. He's my guest today. I refuse to let you bash that man.
You can bash my laptop anytime you want.
Hey, question though. Seriously, now look, you got the number 61 pick. I still think. Do you think with the number 61 pick? Are you going to try? Do you think they should package that? Maybe even with the 25 pick, the 2025 pick, try to move up and get a wide receiver, or maybe a better wide receiver, or what do you think they do with the pick 61?
I think pick 61 was important because you traded the Bears for a second round pick for Chase Claypool. And that
right.
you knew how much that upset me because I'm not big on Chase. I think Chase is a number 3 or a number 2 at best. And I don't think drafting a wide receiver, you might be able to sign one, maybe a cheap one, Adam Thielen, to mentor these guys. But I really like the trio that they have right now. It's nothing like the Bengals with Boyd and Higgins and Chase, but you're looking at Darnell Mooney, DJ Moore, and Chase Claypool, and then Cole Kmet is a rising star in the tight end position. I'm really excited to see what they have in that. And these guys are all 25 years old. DJ Moore.
I was going to ask you about that. So do you think now having DJ Moore that maybe like what Amari Cooper did for Dallas and Gallup, be honest with you, that he took that double coverage and opened up a lot of lanes for, Gallup and company to really take it. I mean, Gallup had a hell of a season. Right. Because Amari was getting double teamed. Do you think that same thing will happen with with Mooney and company, that Moore will maybe take the double team and maybe that will open it up for those guys to make plays?
I mean, it changes everything. I think you hit it on the head. I think it is. And, I'm never going to take a shot at the Dallas Cowboys, but I love to take shots at Amari Cooper. I think the difference is availability, and DJ Moore is in his prime at this time. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, especially with Mooney, because and I don't like to put guys in boxes. I don't like to say this is what you do and this is what you can't. But the fact of the matter is Darnell Mooney is an X factor if you put him in the slot. But the last 2 years, you've had to put him all over the place, have him running deep routes, have him running screens. He's looking like, a poor man's Deebo Samuel. We're just asking him to do everything. And it hasn't turned out that well. He had a poor season. He had a 1,000-yard season 2 years ago. And it was because we actually had guys like Jimmy Graham and Allen Robinson. So now you have DJ as your deep threat and a guy who can really just get after it and do a little bit of everything. I think you hit it on the head with that. Is like, guys like Mooney are going to succeed. Guys like Cole Kmet are going to be wide open. You have Chase Claypool who can just focus on being a vertical threat. Just be big. We don't need you to run routes or, do anything crazy. Just be big, get over the top and see what happens. I think it's going to be really fun.
Let me ask you a question. What's your, now that you guys are really, like you said, stockpiling picks, I think you're really, like you said, putting yourself in a position to possibly contend next year in the playoffs. How do you feel about your coach, Eberflus? Like, honestly, do you think that he can get you there? Or do you still think maybe you're another head coach away? What's your thoughts on Eberflus?
I'm not really there yet. I like Flus as a coach. And I like Flus as a guy who's going to be able to build the culture and be able to be that guy to kind of just hold guys accountable. I talked about it last night with Rob Scott and Tony. If Jalen Carter were to fall to number 9, I trust Matt Eberflus to be able to maintain a guy like that, because Matt Eberflus doesn't put up with nonsense and he doesn't put up with BS. And he's just one of those guys who, he's a blue collar guy and you got to work your ass off to be able to make it in this league. And he holds the guy who's getting paid $200 million to $200,000 the same way he treats everybody else. So I like Flus, but my big thing has always been offensive coordinators. And I think having a defensive-minded guy, especially with a guy like Justin Fields, I have concerns. I think Bill Lazor's a first-time – or not Bill Lazor, he just got fired. Luke Getsey's a first-time offensive coordinator. He was with us last year. And to be honest, Jay, I know the team wasn't great. I know the roster wasn't great, so I'm going to wait this year to see what he can do with guys like DJ Moore, but I wasn't impressed. Every play I saw was Justin Fields taking the ball in his own hands and doing something crazy. So I'm not quite sold on, winning games and that factor of it, but I think if we get the right offensive coordinator, I think Flus could be the right head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Rob Scott, every time, I swear to God, every time I'm on a show with Mike Hughes, you never say, Jay McLovin! Exclamation, exclamation. It's always Mike Hughes! Exclamation, exclamation. Now, I know you and Mike, you got that Chicago connection. But every now and then, you could throw an old guy a bone. Shit.
Rob Scott, baby!
I know I'm not as pretty. I'm not as pretty as Mike Hughes, but damn. He goes on to say the Bears are back, baby. And I believe that. I think if the Bears make the right decisions with these picks, that they could very well be back. Very well be back. And Mike, let's be honest now. He's got a legit offensive threat now with DJ Moore. If they get this man some more offensive line help, it's going to be really interesting to see, the maturation process of a guy like Justin Fields and where he's going to go from here.
Yeah,
Because he didn't had anything, right?
Right. And I think that was what made it the most exciting, especially with a guy like DJ Moore, because DJ is solidified. And like I said,
Wow.
DJ has had several 1,000-yard seasons, 3 of them back to back with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, Cam Newton, just nobodies. Respect to Cam, but at the time he was a nobody. And, it's something for me where if we were, let's say, Jay, we drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba or Jordan Addison or someone along those lines, there's an excuse of, oh, well, this receiver is a rookie and this and that. They need to build time. They need to build chemistry. Now there's no excuses. And I love Justin Fields. Justin Fields is my guy. You know how high I am on him. But it sucks, man, when every single week I have to say, well, he's got nothing to work with. Well, he's still learning the system. Well, this, and that. Now going into this year, bro, it's balls to the walls, and you're in year 3 of this 4-year deal. It's like, so that's really what it is at the end of the day. There's maybe a potential 5th-year option, but the majority of this conversation is going to be built around Justin Fields now has the weapons and hopefully the offensive line, maybe, like we said, Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson Jr., or even going after guys like Mike McGlinskey in San Francisco. I know he's number 69. I know I probably butchered his last name. Orlando Brown Jr. There's a bunch of guys, and we have all the money to do it. So if maybe the defense won't be perfect, and that's fine. If we lose, remember I told you, we lost 7 straight, but Justin Fields put up 31 points in every single one of those games. But I'm telling you, if the defense starts looking better, and Justin can't win us games, then it's going to be this conversation of, okay, we're going to have to start looking into year 4 as what is this going to be? It's a make or break year. And I'm really hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm really hoping he succeeds. I'm hoping, all the question marks get answered. And I'm hoping we just have a great year with Justin, kind of like a Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown type connection that we saw. And I think that's exactly what everyone should be looking at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, man. Honestly, when I look at this year's draft, and what you got what you got in this draft, in those picks, along like I said with Moore, and I look at this as step 1 of getting you guys back where you need to be. Right? I think this is just step 1. But I think when you look at 2024, you get that first round pick to go along with the picks you already have, and then you still have that second rounder in 25. Along with those picks you already have. I think I still think this is a 2-year out process for you guys. But I'm telling you, man, you're moving that needle, every draft, you're moving that needle where it needs to go. And I think, by time, I would say 2024, 2025, depending on if they continue to draft well, trade well, bring in, key free agents here and there, this team could be seriously big time contender in that NFC North division, man. So, hey, props to you guys, man. I think this is the first good step because, truthfully, Mike, let's be honest. There's a big temptation to go after a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young. The problem with that, and why I'm glad the Bears didn't go that direction, is the fact that I think had they gone that direction, it would not have moved the needle 1 inch. As a matter of fact, if anything, it may have even moved the needle back a little bit because you're still not able to put the pieces in place to support those guys.
Yeah, and I think, the big thing, and this is why we had these conversations to begin with about why Justin Fields getting traded doesn't make sense. I think there's a reasonable conversation about Poles wanting to draft his own quarterback at some point. Say Justin Fields just doesn't pan out to what we want him to be 2 years from now. Okay, cool. We talked about it last night. There's guys like the Archie Mannings of the world or the Caleb Williams going into next year. And there's those conversations. But right now, I mean, you trade. What was Justin Fields even worth? You know what? And that's really the conversation. Right. Like, what were you going to get for Justin Fields? So, say you drafted Bryce or CJ at 1, and then you got maybe a second-round pick at best for Justin Fields, at best. And I think that's really the conversation right now. Is that was never, I think, a legitimate conversation. I think it was all just smoke and mirrors and guys just trying to get clickbait. What's his name? Colin Cowherd went on there and said that they should trade Justin Fields. He's a fucking idiot. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. And we're at a point right now, like I told you, we have our first pick next year, which, hey, say Justin Fields is off. So we probably have a top 10 pick next year. And then we have the Panthers pick, which could be top 3, top 5. If we really wanted to, we can get a Caleb Williams. So I'm not even there yet, though, Jay. I'm not.
I mean, because you got options, like you said, you got options years down the road. I think Archie, if he continues to follow in the steps of his brothers and his grandfather, I mean, this guy's going to be phenomenal. And then, like you said, you got Caleb Williams, which you all know what Caleb Williams can do. So you definitely have options in future drafts. But if you right now, if you don't use these picks right now to upgrade the main component parts to support this guy, you're never going to go anywhere. So I think you're doing the right thing. Absolutely.
I'm just sold, man. I'm really sold.
I know, man. I would be too. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm in a place, man, where it's like, I'll live or die by this kid. I've been watching this kid. I tell you every time. I've been watching him and Trevor Lawrence since I was 14 years old in high school. And I believe in both of them. And I think Justin's going to show the world everything he could do. I think the only thing I would have in the back of my head is he gets hurt. And that's just something that I'm not even going to entertain because I can't predict that.
Oh, no. We're not speaking that one into existence. We're leaving that one.
That's what I'm saying. That's really the only thing going into this year.
That one alone, Mike. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We just gonna keep building and stay positive. Now, I'm not even a Bears fan, but I'm just saying if I was a Bears fan, we would stay positive.
No, yeah, but it's definitely, throughout his history of playing football at quarterback, he's definitely had those issues. So I think that's definitely something everybody needs to take into consideration. But if he's healthy, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is probably on his way out, but I'm not going to say that until that happens because I'm tired of talking about that bozo. But then you got the Vikings. Guys are leaving the Vikings left and right. We'll see what happens with that. And the Lions are the Lions. So I think the North is wide open.
I got to tell you, Rob Scott, listen, man, I love you, Rob. I do, man, but how are you not 100% on your team all the time? Well, look, you can have players like Brady and Steph. I know these are your guys, and you can love them and support them, but you should still always be 100% Bulls, Bears, and or Cubs. Damn it. Come on, bro. Rob, come on. Damn.
I think Rob Scott would be a Sox fan. He's from the South Side.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Rob aren't y'all on the South Side?
I'm on the North Side. He's on the South Side.
Okay, so Rob's on the South Side. So Rob should be a Sox fan.
I think so. I don't know. He don't really care about baseball like that.
Bro, listen, when I talk about baseball, Rob will do one thing and one thing only. He will click stop video. He will go to the refrigerator. He will look at what he's got to eat, what he's got to drink. He will come back. I will literally hear him munching on chips. And then when it goes to wrestling, all of a sudden, stop camera, food to the side, and he's fully engaged. That's Rob Scott. I'm just saying. I love Rob.
My man knows his strengths.
Hey, listen, I do the same thing in wrestling, man. So I understand where he's coming from. Dub Nation! Let's see, man. Damn it. Let's get into this draft, man. I know I got picks 1 through 10. I didn't change that part of the slide. I apologize. We're actually doing picks 11 through 21, and then next Saturday we'll finish it with 22 through the end. But let's start it off, man. Tennessee is up for number 11. And let's trade. Now, again, unless trades happen, this is how I'm seeing it. Tennessee, I see taking that the offensive tackle unless the Bears take him.
Right.
Unless the Bears take him, I think they're going to go offensive tackle, and I don't know if Skronsky makes it down that far. I kind of think I do based on the first 10 that I put up. But I think they take Skronsky at 11. And they really need an offensive tackle, especially since Taylor Lewan left. They really are hurting at that spot on that line. But anywho, who do you think is going to go at number 11, Mike? Like, who do you have at 11?
I didn't know this was a segment of the show, but I'm gonna try my darndest to help you. I think first. I think Peter's gone. I think Skoronski will definitely be gone outside of the top 10. If he falls at 11, that's crazy. I mean, hey, shout out to any team that picks him up after 10, but I definitely think the Bears or a couple other teams try to grab him because the kid is a stud. I think a guy like Paris Johnson might be available. He's another guy. He's out of Ohio State. I think he's going to be solid. There's a chance he falls outside of the top 10. But it's going to be really interesting to see. Another one, man, are we just doing one? But yeah, I think Paris Johnson probably, I would say.
Yeah, and again, I think if Paris Johnson or either one of those two guys falls down that direction, I definitely think Tennessee's going to hop on that like white on rice paper because they definitely need to upgrade that line. And if you look at Tennessee too, I just saw, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw some reports saying that they may even trade Derrick Henry away. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I was talking to Rob about it. I said if they wanted to switch number 9 for number 11, all you got to do is give me 11 and Derrick Henry, and I'll do it if I'm the Bears.
But then what are you gonna do with Montgomery?
He's gone.
I mean, you could trade Montgomery for picks if anybody will snap on that.
No, he's gone. He's a free agent. He could do whatever.
Oh, snap! I didn't realize his contract was up.
Yeah, he's been gone. But I mean, we're hoping he comes back. You know, he wants to be a Bear. He said he wants to be a Bear. He hasn't really gone crazy, so I don't think he's going to demand the most money. He's not like Saquon, you know. But yeah, I mean, if I'm more of a draft a running back kind of guy, I'm not really big on signing these guys, especially. You look at the Pollards or the Zekes or the Saquons or the Derrick Henrys of the world or Alvin Kamara punching people in the face every time he walks outside. It's just one of those things. I'm not really big on paying guys who are over the age of 26 to play running back, unless you're like even a Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey had a solid year, but you know, it's the first solid year that he played healthy in a very long time. So I don't really know how that's going to pan out. But I would definitely take Justin Fields and Derrick Henry in the same backfield.
Yeah, I would too. Now you could get, you know, like a guy like Montgomery. Let's be honest. I think he's probably worth what, maybe $6, because you know the franchise tag on a running back is $10 million. I mean, and I don't think, like you said, I think Derrick Henry's hit some leaner years, kind of like what Zeke's kind of hitting. I think $6-7 million, honestly, a year is probably more in alignment. I mean, for if you were to try to bring him back, you think that's what the Bears try to look at? Yeah,
I'm not. Listen, I mean this respectfully, because I've met David before. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great teammate, and I think he is a solid running back. I just don't think he's our running back of a championship type team. I think he could be on the roster, and I think having Justin Fields definitely helps, you know, hide some things about him. But I think, and I tell you about this all the time, even from my time playing running back, it's so important to me that you create a hole, not look for a hole. And I think that's some pause. But let me like make that make sense. It's one of those things where David leads the league in yards after touch. So after they grab him, this guy will plow through you and run an extra 5 yards. But the big thing a lot of people don't talk about is he's getting grabbed right away, because when he gets the ball, he stops. He stutter steps and he stops and he looks for a hole. And then obviously there's no hole because it's the Bears offensive line. And then
he's like, what do I do?
Right. But that's why they have this backup, and I've said it for a couple years now, Khalil Herbert. I love this kid because that kid grabs the ball and he just goes. Wherever he sees, hey, fuck it. There's nothing there. I'm just going to go through anyways. And it works. And that's where you start to see guys really succeed is, you know, instead of these cowbell guys of the 80s and the 90s who they're gonna plow through you. But guys like David, I just need him to kind of have that vision and that mindset of, listen, I'm going to go through here no matter what, because not everything's going to be like how it was for Zeke back in the day where, you know, everything was perfect. You know, so I think David kind of shoots himself in the own foot sometimes. So if you can get a Derrick Henry or a rookie running back, I'm fine with that.
I mean, that's what they tell you. You know, I remember when I played football, you know, I remember when I played when I was at middle school level football, my coach always said, man, because they put me at running back because I was only 5'9". At that time, I was about 160, 165. And, you know, we didn't have really too big of a team. But, my coach always said, look, man, when you get the ball, you know where the hole you're supposed to go through. If the hole's not there, look for another hole. But at no point in time do them legs ever stop moving.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to.
You keep that damn momentum going.
Right. 100%.
God, I remember that. I miss those days. If you look on their pick 12 with the Texans, they're probably going to lose Brandon Cooks. I know they brought in Robert Woods, but I think Cooks is pretty much out the door. So they're going to need another big-time receiver, especially to go along with most likely should be C.J. Stroud, I would imagine, is probably what they'll wind up drafting. I think Young goes number 1 unless something crazy happens. But I think they're going to need somebody to give him to support him. So I'm looking at probably Quentin. If he's available, I'm looking at Quentin Johnson at wide receiver. Because I think he's big and he's fast. I think he can be a benefit. But, Mike, who do you think the Texans – or what do you think the Texans do at number 12?
I think that's the interesting conversation that you just brought up. I think it's a wide receiver, but I do think it definitely depends on the situation with the quarterback. So if they take Bryce Young, I definitely think Johnson is a better option. But if they take C.J. Stroud, I would take Jackson Smith-Njigba because they've played together how many years at Ohio State. And I think that's something where you look at what's happening right now. Tua has Waddle from Alabama. You have, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And, so many other guys are starting to team up with their former teammates. I mean, Derek Carr just teamed up with Devontae Adams for a short period of time. It's something where guys who play together want to stay together. And I think that's something that, really would impact the draft board. From what I heard and from what Bleacher Report was talking about is Carolina really does like C.J. Stroud at this moment. But again, like you said, I think Bryce keeps coming back into that conversation. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So if they took Bryce, I would go Johnson. I think Johnson's better all around. But I do think at the end, or Jordan Addison's an idea too. I'm not going to, knock on Jordan. Jordan's a stud as well out of TSC. But I do think if you are going to draft C.J. Stroud at 2, at 12, I would go get his teammate in Jackson Smith-Njigba because JSN and C.J. are crazy together.
Yeah, and again, I have heard rumors where, like you talked about, where Carolina was really, high on Stroud, which I think, bodes well for the Texans because, I like CJ. Like I said, I really do. I like everything. The kid, when he played against Georgia, he just looked phenomenally amazing. And of course, he did well at his combine throwing the ball as well. So he really backed it up at the combine, which really – I think with Young kind of hurt him a little bit because he didn't throw. So I think, CJ kind of, stole the spotlight a little bit there. And I think for the Texans, I've just never have had a lot of faith in Ohio quarterbacks. I think probably Justin Fields is the first one that I've had some faith in or thought could, be successful at the next level. I think CJ will be successful at the next level too. I'm just thinking if I'm the Texans, we've had a lot of instability at the quarterback since Watson left. We really kind of need that guy that, has less question marks, more stability in that Saban offense. So I think that's why I think it would be beneficial for the Texans to get for Bryce Young. I don't think they're going to go wrong either way, but I think Bryce Young definitely would elevate where DeMeco Ryans is trying to go with that offense. But at number 13, I got the Jets taking Broderick Jones, that offensive tackle. I think the Jets – Mike, I know you saw last year the Jets had Brown. Brown goes down with injury. Another guy goes down with there. I can't remember his name. They had like two of their starting offensive linemen go down with injury. They had to rush in and bring 2 other guys in and do a plug and play for that offensive line with the Jets. So I think the Jets are really hurting at that offensive line. And I feel like that's where they're going to address at 13, which is where they should address that offensive line. But how do you see the Jets playing pick 13?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think offensive line definitely is something for them right now they need to take in consideration, especially if they do end up getting Aaron Rodgers. I think they have a great core of receivers. They have a great tight end. They have Breece Hall coming back, James Robinson. They have some studs. So I really look at that. I mean, you have the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, a bunch of guys. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would go line as well. At that point, I really don't know what offensive linemen are going to be there. If that's who you think they're going to take, your guess is better than mine. But, I think that definitely could be a route that they go. Another one I think they could definitely go is kind of just dealing with the pass rush. I think they definitely – if there are solid pass rushers in there, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think offensive line should be first and foremost, especially if you're about to trade the moon for a 39-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm still curious. The Packers. Speaking on Rodgers a little bit, the Packers have said that talk about Aaron Rodgers is not their top option right now. So that really tells me that, yeah, man, I think Rodgers is going to the Jets. I think that's just a matter of making the numbers work and making and really making the compensation for Rodgers work. And I think they're going to make that happen one way.
Well, they said I saw a report today on Twitter was saying that the Jets and the Packers have an agreement. They're just waiting to see if Aaron Rodgers approves it. So I think they already have everything set.
So with that said, I think it's highly plausible that 13 goes to the Packers.
I'm not quite sure. I'm really not.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I can see, the Packers are probably gonna say, "Yo, look, you can have Aaron, but we want your first round pick."
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the conversation right now. And if that's the case, I think I couldn't tell you what the Packers need right now because they have things X, Y, and Z. So I think there's so many different routes they could go. But I think at the end of the day, the way everybody needs to be looking at it is, what is this going to do for the Jets organization long term? And I'm also very curious, not to get off topic, but
no, you're good.
I don't know if Zach Wilson's a part of that deal. And I think that's really the weird thing for me is because it's like, normally, hey, man, listen, to Rob Scott's point, we want Tom Brady. We'll give you Justin Fields. That makes sense because you get a young quarterback and we get Tom Brady. But Zach Wilson's so awful. Is it even worth sending him there, or do you keep? I
can't even imagine the Packers wanting Zach Wilson. I don't know what their scouting department looks like, but Jesus, I would have to imagine they're like, if the Jets said, "Okay, we'll give you Zach Wilson," if I'm any part of the scouting or developmental part of the Packers, I would so laugh at that and say, "Try again."
Right, and I think you have Jordan Love, and I'm not sold on Jordan Love, but I think Jordan Love understands the system better, and he's been here a few years now, and I think that's a better option. But is Zach Wilson going to be traded or cut, or is he going to sit under Rodgers for a couple years while they go to the playoffs and kind of try to get his groove and try to become what they thought he could be? I think there's a lot. It's a weird conversation because you never typically see a quarterback get traded for and then the other guy not. The last time we saw that was Deshaun and Baker, where the Texans said, "Nah, bro, we're good. You keep Baker. We don't want him." Like,
we keep him. We're good.
Yeah, we're good, bro.
You're right. And truthfully, to what you're saying, the Jets did come out and say when the last time they pulled him out, the very last time, because they put him out a couple times. The last time they pulled him out, they said that we're not giving up on him. That we still quote unquote believe in Wilson, whatever that.
And you know what? I'm not trying to be a hater, especially on your show. If this was a Chicago show, I'd hate all day, no problem. But I believe if Aaron Rodgers ends up a New York Jet, he's green regardless. But I still think at the end of the day, Mike White finds himself starting at quarterback at some point during the season. I really do. I like Mike White. I think Mike White is the guy. I think if he didn't get hurt and break those ribs, which this guy was trying to get cleared by 20 different doctors because he wanted to play so bad. I mean, I think these guys want to fight for him. I think he's a franchise quarterback. He's just not flashy. I think he reminds me a little bit of Brock Purdy, and I think that's really my best analysis for it is two guys who just want a ball and two guys who, maybe they didn't get the draft stock and the notice that they should have. But, I really think both of those guys, another one, and this is a lesser one, but a Taylor Heineke, guys who people want to play with. I don't think guys really want to play with Aaron Rodgers at this point in time. And I think that's something right now that's definitely going to carry over. So I still think Mike White is the truth. I hope if they're going to cut anybody, I hope they cut Zach Wilson and just say, "Hey, listen, we understand. We fucked up. I get it." But you know what? If you
no. Hey, I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm not a Wilson. I gave up on Wilson being a long time ago. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, I mean. If
I was the Jets, I would have put him out right off the rip, and I would have tried to say whatever left of, I don't know what the word is, but a value. There you go. I would have tried to keep whatever value that there was left in him, and I would try to trade his ass for a fourth or a fifth rounder or a third rounder or whatever the hell it was I could get for him just to make up for it. Truthfully.
And I still think you could probably get something. I don't think, and like you said, like I said, I think best case you get for Justin Fields is a second round pick because he broke all those records, those rushing records. I think there's a lot to show there. Zach Wilson really had nothing to show. So I think, you don't even want to trade him because there's nothing to get. You don't want to cut him because then you look like an idiot. And it's like,
right.
It reminds me.
Really hard. It would be really hard for even the Bears to ever even think about cutting Fields because truthfully, he hasn't had the offensive line for him to be able to do what he does. So I still don't think even the Bears know what they really have in Fields. I don't think they know yet because
no, not at all.
We got to keep building the offensive line to really truly find out what he's capable of when he has time in the pocket to make certain decisions.
Right. And I think, though, the big one for me, and forget Fields, like I'm looking back, if I had to compare Zach Wilson to something, it's the same thing with Mitchell Trubisky. And that's really what And I think by them doing what they're doing right now, they're already doing better than what Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace did. They said, listen, we fucked up. Here's Nick Foles, and that didn't work. And then they were like, here's Andy Dalton, and that didn't work. By getting Aaron Rodgers, a 3-time MVP, back-to-back MVP, Super Bowl champion, I would say he's a top 10 quarterback of all time. I think they're doing right by the organization by saying, listen, we get it. We fucked up. Here's Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't be too upset about it if I was a Jets fan right now. But I still think at the end of the day, they have a lot of questions past this year and going forward, even after they get Aaron Rodgers potentially. It's going to be weird.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, I appreciate the real Mike Hughes. Don't give me the fake version. If you got some shit you want to say, brother man, you better say it because I want the. It's like going to McDonald's and not getting the full value meal. I want the full value. Don't cut the fries out. Give me the fries, please.
I love the fries, but yeah.
Matter of fact, you know what? I don't want the fries. I expect extra salt.
Nah, yeah, but I try to, because I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy. You know, and I don't hate Rodgers. I don't like Rodgers, but I don't hate Rodgers. Like I respect him as a player. It's just the fact that you're one of the ops, bro. Like you're on the wrong side, bro. You're wrong side of town, and I don't fuck with it. So
yeah. Well, I like the original Aaron Rodgers. I don't like this alternate weird version of Aaron. At some point, Aaron Rodgers changed.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I think it's fucking awesome.
I don't know, man. Ever since he had the commercial where he's got the beanie cap on and he's playing the guitar and he got the semi-weird medium-length hair, I don't know. It was just too weird for me. I couldn't do it, man.
It made me. He makes me laugh. It makes me like when he said he was going on a 4-day retreat in the dark, and I was just like, all right, well, I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay.
I don't know. I tried to see what that would be like. I went in my closet. I turned out the closet light. I closed the door. I sat there for like about 10 minutes. I said to myself, you know what? There's no way I'm doing 4 days like this. No freaking way.
Nah, yeah.
I couldn't. Paris Johnson, who I got at 14, going to the Patriots. Again, that's another team I feel like, they need to build that. They need to keep building up that line to really help Mac Jones and company out. So I got, and again, I think they could possibly lose. I've heard rumors where maybe 2 of their offensive tackles, they either lose both or they lose one. I don't think they keep both of them though, right? And that's why I think Paris Johnson or whatever best offensive tackle that's available at that time. I think Bill's going to go that direction, just so he doesn't have to. Because offensive linemen are hard to find, even in free agency. They're hard to find. So I think he go, and Bill doesn't like to spend money if he don't have to. So I think he tries to find that. I think if Johnson's available or the best available, I think he goes that direction to help out with that offensive line. But Mike, who you got the Patriots taking at 14?
I think it's interesting. I'm not a Pats fan by any means, and I don't follow them. All I know is the Bears smoked them by 40 this year. But I hope Frankie heard that too. But yeah, and the Bulls beat the Celtics in the same night. It was an amazing time. But we were smoking that Boston pack, baby. But,
oh hell yeah!
It's weird to me because I want Bill to learn from his mistakes in the past, especially with Tom and especially with Jimmy and everybody else that's come throughout that organization. I just feel, and I get it, I hear your concerns. The offensive line was an issue, but I think more of the issue was Mac Jones than it really was the offensive line. So I think that's definitely something where, you know, you bring it up. If best available is an offensive lineman, cool. But again, if Johnson is available or Jordan Addison or JSN or a top tier wide receiver, I think it's time for Bill to finally address that, because Jacoby Myers is okay. You know what? He's not awful, you know, and I think there's these conversations going around right now that Bill hasn't really drafted a true wide receiver one really ever. And I think that's something that kind of bothers me, and it's something I don't really understand. But Jay, I got to bounce out of here. I got to head to work.
No. Do your thing. Do your thing. Hey, appreciate you hopping on, man. You know I love you to death. And be safe going to work. And make sure you always keep your wallet in your front pocket so you don't get pickpocketed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Be good, man. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, man.
All right, folks, man. Hey, it's always good having Mike Hughes on the show. You know that man brings a wealth of knowledge. We're going to pick it back up again. I think pick it up at number 15. Oh, by the way, if it's true that if maybe Bill changes his ways and he goes for that wide receiver, that Nick, that JKN or whoever Addison, whoever may be available, that would be amazing, because currently Jacoby Myers could be hitting free agency, and if he does, it's a very slim market on free agent wide receivers. I think Jacoby Myers will probably be the number one available option. I think OBJ will probably be the number two option, best for, and I don't say OBJ number two because of injuries. We still don't know how he's looking to come out the ACL, and we don't know if there's any future ACL possible injury. So again, I think Myers is going to be very slim pickings for wide receiver, and if they do wind up losing Myers, they're going to have to replace him with somebody. So Bill, if you're listening, you may want to look at the wide receiver market before you go offensive line or anywhere else on your team in the draft. But moving on to number 15, we got Dalton Kincaid at tight end. That's where I see Green Bay going, because like Mike said, if they do wind up getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, which looks like that is going to happen, then Jordan Love will need to step up in his place. Now, if Jordan Love does step up in his place, he's going to need a complement of weapons to get that ball to, because unlike Aaron Rodgers, who can make the average wide receiver better, I still don't know if Love can do that. We have not seen anything from Love to know if he can do that. So this guy, Jordan Love, is going to need all the damn help he can get. And so for that reason, I think starting with the tight end with Dalton Kincaid, because he is fluid, he can break yards after the catch, and he has great hands. And I think that's going to be the dump-off wideout. If he can't get the ball downfield to Watson or anybody else, he's going to need that dump-off tight end that's reliable, strong. I think Kincaid is like 6'6", 260, 270. He's going to need a guy like that to get the ball to get him out of jams. So I think they go number 15. I have them taking Dalton Kincaid at the tight end for that specific reason. At number 16, I got Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback, going to Washington. And the reason why I got him, Joey Porter Jr. lasted down to 16, is because on the combine, he was not in the top 7 at the cornerback spot in terms of 40-yard dash. Joey Porter Jr. ran less than a 4.4. I don't remember the exact number was, but I know he was out of the 4.4 range at the combine. So that means there was 7 other cornerbacks better than him. And we know Christian Gonzalez came in, I believe, at number 6 or number 7 with a 4.38, but I have him going early in the first round, or in the first top 10 in that round. So that's why I got Joey Porter sliding further down to 16 to Washington, simply because of the fact that he has a slower 40-yard time, and I think they need some speed on that Washington defense. Number 17, I got another cornerback, Deonte Banks, going to Pittsburgh. Again, that's the best available cornerback that was available to suit up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who still need help on that defensive side. They can't keep relying strictly on the defense going through T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt can put pressure on the quarterback, but they got to have a lockdown corner, or a corner that can keep up with the cornerbacks to take advantage of that. So I got Deonte Banks, cornerback, for that reason, going to Pittsburgh. If we turn our attention over to Detroit at number 18, I see Miles Murphy the defensive line guy, if he's still available, because Murphy could be one of those kind of guys that goes a little sooner. But I think Myles Murphy will last down to 18 because of some of the other positional needs ahead of him. So I got Myles Murphy going to Detroit. He's going to be paired up along Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, could you imagine that? Aiden Hutchinson on one end, Myles Murphy on the other end. That's going to be ferocious out there in Detroit. So look for Detroit to find the complement or the battery mate to Aiden Hutchinson, and I think Myles Murphy will fit that nicely out there in Detroit. At number 19, I got Tampa Bay taking Cam Smith at the quarterback spot. We know that Tampa has lost a lot of spots on that defense due to cap reasons. So they got to start rebuilding this team, and I think defense is where you start. They have a fairly, they still have a lot of good pieces over in the offense. So I think they need to look at defense right now. And I think cornerback is a perfect place to start. And Cam Smith going to Tampa Bay at 19 is where I have that unfolding. At number 20, I don't know if he's going to be available to Seattle, but if he does fall down that far, Jackson Smith and the Jigba, JSN, I have him going to Seattle. I don't think now that they have Geno Smith locked in, I think Tyler Lockett is not 100% a lock to stay another 2 to 3 years there. So I think that DK Metcalf is not going anywhere. So that's going to be your over-the-top route runner. But I think where JSN will fall in is he is a nice, polished, underneath route runner. And so I have, for that reason, JSN going to Seattle to give them that replacement for Tyler Lockett and give them that underneath route runner to complement DK over the top. So look for JSN to fall to number 20 at Seattle. And then at 21, to the Chargers, I got Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle. We all know the Chargers have struggled a little bit on that offensive line. So for that reason, I think they go Chargers. I think they go Darnell Wright at the offensive tackle to solidify that offensive line. And that's where we are, folks. That is 11 through 21. Next Saturday, we'll pick up 22 all the way to the end. I did want to kind of talk about one or two things real quick before we get on out of here for the day. And that is Kevin Durant is out 2 to 3 weeks. Again, he's on the IL. He just came off the IL, mind you, from the Nets. Now he's back on the IL with the Suns. And how many games? Let's see. How many games do they have left to play? I believe it's 16, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. 16 games. So that means pretty much Durant will be out until the playoffs, which is okay in my opinion, because do you really want to if I'm the Suns and I know how fragile Kevin Durant really is and how older he really is, I know that I'm positioned well enough in the rankings that I think I slide down to 7, worst case scenario, because we all know the West is extremely tight. It's within a 2 to 3 to 4 game window between the play-in, the bottom of the play-in, all the way up to where Phoenix is. So again, I think they slide down maybe to number 7, maybe even number 8 if they're not careful without Durant being there, possibly. But at the same time, I think you rest Kevin Durant, you get him ready for the playoffs, because let's be honest, nobody giving him about the regular season. Just make the playoffs. And then once you get into the playoffs, you get Kevin Durant back, and then you just battle it out like everybody else. But without a healthy Kevin Durant, this Phoenix Suns team is going absolutely nowhere. So rest him up, get him healthy, and then let's get ready for the playoffs. If I'm Phoenix Suns, that's the way I'm approaching it. You only got 16 games left in the season. Don't rush it. Don't rush it, because right now, KD's playing freaking amazing. If you haven't seen, before KD got hurt, let me give you a little education on it, if you haven't already figured it out. He's hitting 26.7 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 3.7 assists since he joined the Suns. He's shooting a field goal percentage of 69%. 69. That is the best in NBA history over 3 games joining your team on 40 attempts. Now, it's a very small sample size, so take it for what it's worth. All I'm trying to drive home with that comment is just that Kevin Durant came to Phoenix to play. He came to Phoenix to play. So, and I know Frankie, I knew Frankie would come in. He said, KD ain't doing shit. I don't know, Frankie. He seems to be doing shit. He's playing his ass off right now. Now, granted, he is hurt. He is hurt. And I know that brings a tear to your eye, the fact that KD's hurt, right? He says since joining the Suns, he's breaking ankles. Well, I don't think it was an ankle he broke. I think it wound up. I think it was his ankle. I stand corrected, Frankie. Don't correct me on that because I already correct myself. It was a left ankle injury, and it is true. He is breaking ankles. So I don't know, man. The ankle is a very hard thing to judge on how fast he can come back or not come back from. So again, we'll have to see. Right now, the Suns are currently in fourth with a 37-29 record. They're on a 4-game win streak. They play tonight at 9 p.m. versus Sacramento. So take that for what it is. He said, look at my picture. Yep, I get it, brother, man. Hey, you're right. He is, like I said, he is breaking ankles. So, hey, it is what it is, man. Last but certainly not least, this is the final thing I'm going to say before we head out the door. I just want to talk about OBJ for a second, since we are obviously getting ready for free agency, which I believe free agency starts on the 15th. So we got 4 days until free agency starts. OBJ held a private workout out there in Arizona. A number of teams either attended or sent representatives. Among those were the Giants, the Panthers, the 49ers, the Patriots, and I believe the Seahawks. You know who didn't send one? The Cowboys. That's right. The Cowboys did not send a representative to the OBJ workout, and I don't think they really had to. I don't think they really needed to. They've already held a private workout with him. All they really had to, which I am surprised they didn't send a medical staff person just to maybe give him a medical once-over on the ankle. But again, I don't think they had to do that really truly either. If the Cowboys want to take a look at him, they'll bring him into the facility. They'll give him their own private medical screening and then possibly make him a contract offer. And Jerry Jones has said that he expects OBJ, even still today, he expects OBJ to join the Cowboys. So I don't know if I believe that. I don't know how much weight to put into Jerry Jones saying that. So we'll have to wait and actually see if that comes to fruition. OBJ should just retire. I agree with what you're saying, Frankie. On a health perspective, he probably should just retire. But at the end of the day, I don't think he does. I think you use him in spot situations. He's not a number one anymore. I don't think he's even a number two, number three, number four, however you want to go down the list. I think OBJ is in a whole different category of wideout. I think he's like an Antonio Brown was for Tampa Bay, and I think he's like he was when he played for the Rams. He's that guy that can give you a few really key plays or a few momentum shifting plays. I think that's where OBJ falls into. So let's be real. How long can he give a team on and that's my point. I don't think you use them every play. I think you use him in the regular season 15 to 20% of the snaps. 15 to 20% of the snaps. And then when you get into playoffs, I think you go 30 to 40% of the snaps. Because again, I don't think he's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 guy. I think he's a guy you bring in. He's like a trick guy. He's a specialty. That's the word I'm looking for. He's a specialty wide receiver. You bring him in on certain key situations to get the ball up the field. And maybe like third down situations, maybe second down situations, things like that. But again, that's my point, man. We'll see what OBJ does. But again, I think Frankie C, I think your boy Jacoby Myers is probably going to be the best wideout available in free agency, truth be known, because there's a very select class. I don't think you're going to see very many top wideouts in free agency. D-Hop, I think, but you have to get D-Hop through a trade, so that doesn't even really account for it. So available free agents is going to be slim pickings, very slim pickings. Nah, we're gonna, and maybe you do resign him, Frankie. Hey, maybe that could very well happen. Truthfully, Patriots was gonna, and maybe they do bring him back. Honestly, when you look at what's available right now, Frankie, I think Bill only has two options: bring Myers back, or then use that number. I forget where they were. Use that number 14 spot to take a wideout, either Addison, JSN, whoever falls down to 14. I think that's who you take. But like Mike Hughes alluded to earlier, that's not what the Patriots. That's not what Bill typically does. Frankie, you know that better than anybody, since that's your team. So I don't know, man. Take it for what it's worth. I know I said I was gonna end the note, but I got to end the note on this. Jake Paul. I read more into this situation, and it really is, Frankie. I don't know if you saw the whole process of what happened. He said, bring back Myers, trade for Diop. Possible. That's a possible. So apparently, Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather were at a Miami Heat game not long ago. And, you know, Jake Paul is coming off a tough loss to Tommy Fury. But Floyd and Jake are at the Miami Heat basketball game. They run into each other. There's entourages all around them. And basically, Floyd Mayweather is basically calling Jake Paul a bum. And Jake Paul said, well, let's fight. Let's do a real fight, not an exhibition, not anything else. Let's do a real sanctioned fight. And Floyd's like, bet. Let's do it. Let's do a fight. I'm down. And then that's when Floyd calls Jake Paul. He goes, you're a bum. And Jake Paul said something to the effect of like, you're just mad, and grabs his hat off of Floyd Mayweather's head and runs like a little bitch. Just runs out into an alleyway where eventually Floyd Mayweather's camp circles around him like they were about to jump him. And then, you know, Jake Paul, I think, ultimately gives the hat back. I think it gets squashed. They go their separate ways. But now it's left to know, will Jake Paul fight Floyd the Money Mayweather? I think it's got to happen at this point. And I don't think it needs to be exhibition. I don't think it needs to be a publicity stunt. It needs to be an actual sanctioned fight to see if Floyd Money Mayweather can go to 51-0 or 50-1. And oh my God, if he went to 51 to Jake Paul, how crazy would the world explode at that? God, that's amazing. Final thoughts. My final thoughts is simply this. Number one, thank you, Mike Hughes, for coming on the show and hanging out and helping me out with the draft. Much love, much appreciation. Rob Scott. Let's start the tradition. I'm going to start yelling your name. Rob Scott. And then when you come on the comments from now on, I want you to give me the Jay McLovin. And then we'll start our own damn thing, okay? Damn, what a time to be alive, man. All right, folks. With that having been said, I do want to say this. Mad props to Thielen. I don't know where Adam Thielen is going to go at this point. He gave 9 years of his life to the Minnesota Vikings organization. If you don't know anything about Adam Thielen, he was a Minnesota homegrown guy. He was from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. He went to Minnesota State as a walk-on. He worked his way up through the Vikings organization. And just a little food for fact, he had 534 catches for the Minnesota Vikings. 534. There are only 2 other Minnesota Vikings that had more catches than Adam Thielen. And those 2 Vikings are none other than Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Number 3 Minnesota Vikings wide receiver with the most grabs, Adam Thielen. Rest in peace on that career side. Much love to your next venture. I love to see where you wind up at this point, to see who will bring you in. I think somebody's going to take a chance on Adam Thielen. It's going to be interesting to see who that team is. All right, folks, it's your boy Jay McLovin. Just want to say again, please check us out on Unscripted Guys on Twitter, all one word. Unscripted Sports on TikTok, all one word. And again, find us anywhere on ASAP. Now that we have the ASAP mobile app, that's the ASAP network, we're now on Google Play, Amazon, and we're also affiliated with Bet Us. Check us out, and until next time, man, much love, much thank yous. Mickey Delaney, Frankie, everybody that contributed in the comments section, I love you, I thank you, and we will catch you on the flip side of life. Catch you on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the next Unscripted show. Deuces.